Hi, I'm Grant Schmidt with ShotTech LLC, and this is my review of the Sig Sauer Academy 365 EDC Championship. It was really cool, and let's just kind of get into it. So I first heard about it through ARFCOM News, which is pretty cool. You had to have a P365. You could have any iteration of it. So I heard about it through ARFCOM News. And then I was like, well, let me check this out. And I've been kind of ignoring competition for a while because I observe the Sabbath, and so Saturdays don't work for me, and I work Sundays. So when I said, let's check it out, because I had just purchased a 365. So I was able to pick a Thursday. So I came in on a Wednesday, stayed at the Executor Inn, totally recommend. You can also get Sig promotional rates. They cut my bill in half. So I'm coming from Pennsylvania. So the championship schedule, it goes from like 6:30 a.m. start time. I probably got there the night before at like 6:40 or maybe 6:30 or something like that. So I couldn't get the deal on the ammo that they had prior, which would have been nice. So I had to shoot from what I bought, but I kind of planned for that because traffic was real bad. All right, got my gallon water jug. Got my range bag, got my bag of food and other water, spare socks, underwear, things like that. And we're set to jet. 6:30 a.m., gates open. You kind of follow to the Patriot area. It's a little confusing because everything's called like the Freedom area, the Patriot area. So I had to like check my phone and be like, which Americana area am I heading to? When you first go in, you see the pro shop and stuff, and then the employees were able to give me a little bit of a heads up, but they were like, I'd probably show up at 8 o'clock, which would have been a terrible mistake. So I got there at 6:30 or 7, and that was plenty of time, and then everyone else trickled in. We just had a kid 3 weeks ago. My wife let me go. Had fired the gun once prior. Yeah, so I did a lot of dry fire. Not a lot, because I only had a week, and I still have to work and do everything. But I just chose anyway to go into the open division. So the XL open division, because I'm going to use this gun for concealed carry and security work and teaching and training and such. So I threw a TLR6 on there, which is the light and laser combo, and got a holster for that. The holster arrived the day before I left, so the Tuesday. They did a really good job. They have 13 stages, and they were like all concealed carry themed. They had a really good job. They had been here a week prior setting up with all these volunteers and employees. It was really cool. So at the breakdown, at the safety brief, the guy was like, yeah, we're using IDPA rules, but this is about like fun and good training and good competency, and all the stages are based on, you can tell they were kind of based on case study, and a lot of them like just made my hair like really stand up on the back of my neck, because it's the gas station, it's the ATM, it's the washing your car kind of things, and anything gas station related. Like, you know, it's just coming from Philadelphia, that really gets like the hairs on the back of my neck to stand up. And they had a lot of fun stages. So some were based on sort of like skills and competency, like this one stage where the targets on the paper targets on the right, it was a symmetrical. Paper targets on the right were strong hand. The paper targets on the left were non-dominant hand, and then the steel targets were freestyle. And of course, I'm learning as I'm going. I did not know the difference between tactical sequence and priority sequence. I hope I don't mess this up. Tactical sequence is okay. One of them is you have to give a shot to each target and then fill in the required amount of shots per target. So if you have 2 targets and one requires, if they each require 3 shots, then you have to go 1, then the next, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, or in every order you decide. But each target has to have 1 before they fill in the requisite amount of numbers. Right off the bat, we started with a warm-up, which was like a pre-stage, which is kind of like an El Presidente drill kind of thing. And the loaded chamber indicator on the 365 came in real handy, because you load and make ready. I would have really preferred that the window into the magazine, so it's like 5, 10, and then 12 for the 12 rounders. I would really prefer if they were on the other side. So as I'm loading, I had to flip the magazine the other way, and I'm like, yep, this is one of my loaded magazines. Insert, rack around, and then look through the loaded chamber indicator, which worked out really, really well. One time I racked the slide and it didn't chamber around, which would have cost me a lot of time. You had to fire from concealment, but they didn't care about printing. So you'll see in the video, I'm often wearing a big blue, like security goon squad looking shirt, which is, I mean, fairly realistic for me, because on like a big events, hot summer days and stuff, like I'll definitely wear that shirt as a concealment garment, because I know there's no way I'm going to print doing it, so I can have absolute full range of motion, which I need for work and print.
We don't need to
but like if I'm doing it casual, I'm not wearing that big garment. So each stage is a little different. So they would have to say like, oh, you can conceal, but I don't care about printing, or you don't have to conceal. So it would be great to have another holster that was inside the waistband. I thought that they would be real serious about the whole printing thing. So my clothing was not the best choice, and it did cost me time on my draw. I did have a few bad draws, but ultimately my points I was really, really happy with. Like everything was spot on. It was real. I wouldn't say that this is great training, but I would say that this is great proving. Like it's a proving ground. Because you're doing things that your normal range just won't allow you to do, and the level of work that was put into competition, and the stages and everything is obviously way higher than I think your average, local competition. And that's not a slight against anyone, but this is the Sig Sauer Academy, and the volunteers were so enthusiastic and they were so nice, and they kept it fun, they kept it positive. The sportsmanship was off the charts. At first I started setting up my camera on a tripod and like putting it in the gravel and sand, and then people just started, hey, can you film my stages? Can you film my stages? So most of my stages were filmed by people who had already gone. And yeah, it was awesome. The tactical sequence, priority sequence of things was a real mental thing for me. And I realize now that anytime I go into competition, I'm going to have like 10 magazines, and I'm just going to load them to capacity first, because it's easier to unload a magazine. It's quicker than to load one. And I kept borrowing the Magula loaders from one of my squad mates. And as I watched this video with the plates again, with the plate rack, I realized I'm pretty sure I either hit the base or I was actually hitting those plates and they weren't falling. But you can hear the ding every time I shoot them. Different walks of life were in my squad. It was really cool. They were all just local gentlemen. They were all in it. Some of the squads had some SIG employees, which was really cool. Some had some industry people. I was the second person in my squad who was in the industry. I should say third. One was a jiu-jitsu guy. One worked for Polymer 80, which was awesome to talk to him. And the rest, I think, were just local guys, who do this for fun, and it was just really, really cool. First time doing a Texas Star outside of simulation practice. So I've done it numerous times on a simulator, because that's what I do, shot tech. But it was really cool to do that in real life, and I was so excited. Same thing with the plate rack, actually. I've seen them done in real life, and I realized it while I was there. I was like, wow, this is my first time actually doing this, because I've done it in simulation so many times. So yeah, so that was really, really, really cool. So I think in the video I'm about to, so that white thing on the side is a mailbox. So you had to have both hands on the mailbox. I have a mailbox right next to my house, so I was also like, this is very realistic. So that was pretty cool. And you're next to the car, and they have all these cars there, and one of the organizers, Chad, who did an unbelievable, amazing job. A shout out to him, and I hope they do this every year, and I will probably be there if I can for every year. Because this is going to be my main carry gun, and it's probably going to... I sold my Glock 42 for this. I may sell my Glock 26 for this. just to make room. Like the 365 really does do a heck of a whole lot. And I haven't gotten into the red dot thing, but dude, I crushed this Texas Star. I crushed that Texas Star. Crushed being relative to my expectations of my own performance. This whole competition was exactly that. It was relative to the expectations of my performance. I wanted to perform at a certain level, and I want to have a really good time, and I want to keep it semi-realistic. I probably focused way too much on the athletics. Prior to this, I was working out every day, which I try to do anyway, but there was very little to no movement. If you could move and have full range of motion, it was a big plus. So I probably did the most moving of anyone, but it was a lot of sidestepping. I didn't get to film this stage, but this is a really cool stage. The thing on the left, when you push it, there's like a runner that comes at you, and then it falls down. So you have very limited time to put shots in that target before it disappears. So obviously that you start the stage by hitting that thing, and then it comes down. So this is not that stage. This is kind of the stage next to it. This is a different one. This was like they had picnic tables, and then they had you were washing your car. So not the best draw there, but my shots were quick. Like my strings were pretty quick. It was like bum 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 bum, or bum 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 bum, which I was really happy with. I mean, you know, dry fire is great. I like the 320. I like the pre-warranty trigger fix upgrade thing because I can dry fire with the 320 trigger better that way. Yeah. All right, so that's not my draw, thank goodness. That's loading and making ready. I had a very methodical load and make ready. I recommend anyone to dry fire practice the load and make ready portion because it's a lot of a mental game too. Like I wouldn't say your adrenaline is going up, but like, yeah, like, you know, your excitement, like people are watching you, your excitement's going on, like this is awesome. Yeah, you know, like, so that was like a slow and smooth, steady go at that stage.
Wrench is clear.
I'm always worried that my goal was not to get DQ'd. Don't get DQ'd. Don't have any procedural errors. Don't have anything that calls like the range master to get over. Someone in the squad had that once because they just didn't follow commands and they weren't sure how to score it. Multiple stages had. Oh, it was a horrible draw, but multiple stages, not like the worst, but yeah, bad. Oh, and then there's this thing like this guy had. So sponsored by the guy who made this target, and the target is. Oh, wait, let me think about this one. Yeah, this one went like this, and then this one was like, it was all over the place. Up, down, it was all over the place. So I just decided to mag dump in its direction. And so I probably cost a few seconds just shooting at the thing, but I think I only got -1, and one of my zeros was a headshot. So with the targets, you have a 0 zone here and a 0 zone here. So I just decided to mag dump in that direction because I couldn't even see the target. It was moving so fast. So this stage was crazy. So it was, if I recall, like 30, 40, and 60 yards, or 20, 40, and 60 yards. So first 2 shots, I'm right on. And then the remaining 10, so it was a 10-round limit, I sent in the direction of 60 yards. And I had not shot. I knew in advance that was going to be there because one of the organizers let them slip and I called them on the phone. So pro tip, always call an organizer on the phone because they may divulge information. But I don't even know if my local rifle range allows for me to shoot pistol at those distances. So maybe I could have like saved as much time or gotten a little bit of a time by being like 1, 2, 3, and then be like, no, I'm done. But I think you had to shoot 10, so maybe I could have done like 1, 2 hits and then burn down the 10 and then just take the 5-second penalty on the miss. Might have been better, but I actually really wanted to hit that thing, and she was spotting for me. So she was like, oh, high and right, low and left, and I'm like, you know, because I got the short slide too. This stage was awesome, and the next one was my favorite, but I didn't get the chance to film it. So you had the no-shoot targets with the hands up, That was great. With this stage, I was gonna shoot through the car, and then she made me back up. So I was like, okay, I'll shoot around the car. But I wanted to shoot through the car because that's a lot of fun. And when do you get to do that? So that's me sidestepping. This was the most movement I had probably done for the entire match, for anyone that I'd done for the entire match. But I just wanted to clear the no-shoots. And when you were stepping, when you were farther away from the car, the angles looked like you may have to get a little run in there, like 2 side steps or something, but no. And my shot placements were great. Like, sometimes they'd be in the -1, but I'm like, okay. Yeah, so this is the next stage. I didn't get a chance to film it, but I chose to shoot through the car as opposed to going over the car. One gentleman decided to take a knee. That may have psyched himself out, so he like got out of sequence. You had to go the one on the right, then the one on the left, then the one in the middle, because it was in, you had to do it in sequence of the threat that was closest to you, and then one that was all the way on the left. And it ended up being like T2, target 2. This is just kind of like overture, so like, in conclusion, this thing was awesome. Oh, and like, yeah, some of my video is glitching out. But yeah, this thing was awesome. It was super, super fun. I totally recommend. It's good proving, not so much good training. Oh, and a big part of this was, so you go to the pro shop, right? Like the pro shop's right there. They give you a coupon for 15% off optics, firearms, or suppressors. So I go in there, and my plan is to purchase a rifle suppressor for my 300 Blackout, or a caliber conversion kit for my MCX. The suppressors that they don't have in yet, they're not out yet, and the caliber conversion kits are on super duper back order. So even if I had used the coupon, they're months out. So then I was really stuck. So then I'm looking at optics, but I only buy made in USA optics, and the cheapest made in the USA optic that Sig has is the Romeo 4 Hunter version, and then the next step would be the Romeo 4 Tactical version. Those are for the red dots. They're sourced from China, made in the USA. Point is, when you're in the pro shop, you have access to like some serious Sig Sauer people, and they have a wealth of knowledge. I don't know like what the routine is of like, let's call it normal employees to like super experts. And then this is a gentleman that I got to meet, and he develops the suppressors. So he came in just to like buy some stuff. And I don't know what he was there for, but like I probably talked to this dude for an hour, and he was so forthcoming with information. We talked about so much. We talked about the old MPX muzzle brake, because they're blending the technology so much that this is becoming silly. And he was able to give me the history of suppressors. Like, this dude was such a wealth of knowledge. It was so cool. You're getting like wisdom straight from the source, and it was really, really cool. So the pro shop experience was really, really awesome, and it made a lot of this experience, even though I ended up just getting 2 boxes of 300 Blackout subsonic and 4 bargain bin 10 round metal AR mags for $5 each. But just talking to the people and learning the stuff and seeing the products from like the thermal image stuff I would never see if I wasn't in a Sig Sauer pro shop, was really, really, really cool. So ultimately, I really, really enjoyed the P365 championship. Everybody was super kind. It was super well organized. It was super well run. It was super fun, and I got to perform at a level that I would like to train at if my local range allowed it. And for now, I'm stuck, dry firing, and the truth is I'm able to do a lot of that stuff in dry practice because I run a mobile simulation training company. So the things that I was doing are definitely working, and I was able to perform at the level that I wanted, which was really, really cool, with a brand new gun. So thank you, Sig. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, John Hutchinson. And thank you to all the organizers of this incredible event. It was awesome, and I wholly recommend it. And you should, speaking to John Hutchinson, you should come out with a 365 suppressor division next year. Do it. Make it happen. Thanks again. I'm Grant Schmidt with ShotTech LLC, and this is my review of the P365 Championship at the Sig Sauer Academy in New Hampshire.